Hello guys, welcome to another session. In this session, we are going to look into a style React component. So let's understand what are the ways available to style the component in React. In React, we can do a styling of the component in a various ways. The first way we will look into CSS style sheets. Once we understand that, then we will look into inline styling. And there is another way called CSS modules that also we will look into. So these three mechanisms we are going to look into for styling the React component. So let's jump into the Visual Studio Code and understand the first way of styling React component, that is CSS style sheets. So we are into the Visual Studio Code and we are going to use the same example which we have been following from the beginning. So let me show you the output, then we will understand the styling of the React component using CSS style sheet. So this is the output which we know about it. So in this example, we are going to decorate header component and we will understand the styling technique in React component. So let's jump into the Visual Studio Code. Since beginning, you must be wondering that why I am going with the folder structure. Every component is based upon the folder structure. Why I am not keeping a single file alone within the component folder. That is because we can keep all the assets which is related to that particular component. I can keep it at one place. For example, now I want to decorate the header component with some style. So I will create another file, that is a CSS file over here called header.css, and so that we can keep all the assets which is related to the header component in a single folder. And in the long run, this structure will help us to maintain the code in a better manner. So let's write some CSS for the component. If you are having an idea about CSS, then it is perfectly fine. If you are not having, then you can refer my course. Let's learn CSS3 step by step from scratch, where I have covered all the basics of CSS3 in a step by step manner. So now let's write some CSS over here. So first we will use dot notation over here for defining a class called header, and this contains height, which is 100%, then width I'm going to is also 100%, then it should be floated to left. So let's write it left. The background I want to keep it blue color would be good. So let's write blue, and you can keep whatever you would like. Padding I want for top and bottom 40 pixel, as well as left and right also I want, so that the header become big. And the color of the text I want white. So I'm going to tell that hash FFFF. So this is white. So I have defined a header class. Now the next step is I need to associate this CSS into the header component. So how I can do that? Let's look into that. So the first step is we need to import the header. So we need to specify over here dot class, as we are referring in the same folder. So we need to specify over here header dot CSS. So we have imported the CSS over here. Now the next step, we need to specify the class. So to specify class in React, we need to specify the class name instead of class, as class is being reserved within the HTML. So to use this class, header class, which we have defined over here, so I'm going to use it in this header.js. So I need to specify header. Save it. Now let's look into the output. Then you will find that we have styled our header component with the help of CSS style sheet. So this is the first way by which you can style your component. Now let's proceed further and look into the inline style. That is our second way to apply the style in React. Now we will look into inline styling. So let's jump into the Visual Studio Code. So inline styling is also pretty much straightforward. Instead of header.css, what we will do, we will take it all the configuration for CSS, copy it, and we will create a variable over here for styling, and we will specify const, and over here we need to specify header, and within the curly braces we are going to specify the properties. For example, copy paste all the thing, remove this part, this one also, and over here we need to specify all this in within the quotes. So make sure that you are specifying within the quotes, and instead of semicolon you need to specify the comma. So for the left also it is going to be within the quotes. This property also going to be in the quotes. So make sure that you are specifying within the quotes. All this will go into the double quotes or single quotes, whatever you want to use it, you can use it, specify that. Now save it. Now the next step, instead of class name, I'm going to use something called a style over here, and this style attribute contains this variable, and whenever you are using variable, we should specify within the curly braces as it is a JSX. So over here we need to specify header, and this time we will specify green to make the difference. Save it. Let's look into the output, and then you will find that we have applied the inline styling. So this way you can specify the inline styling. So let's proceed further. When you are using inline styling, you will find that there is no separate file we have defined. We have used the same JS file, and where we have defined all the configuration for styling within the component file which we have created for the component. So now let's look into CSS module way to create the style for React component, or say with the help of CSS module we are going to apply the style on React component. So let's jump into the Visual Studio Code to understand this. Creating CSS module is also very straightforward. You need to click on the header folder over here, that is the component folder, and within that we need to insert a file, new file called header dot, and this time we need to specify module.css. Press enter, and then we will keep the same CSS which we have created as a normal style sheet. So write it over here and then save it. So how it is different from the header.css and header.module.css? So the difference is the way how you are importing it. Now to use this header module, what we need to do, we need to import it. So first let's import it, and we will specify styles from and the name of the file. Here over here we need to specify header mod.css. Now this is being imported. Now how we can use it? We need to specify over here, instead of style we need to specify class name, and within that we need to specify styles dot header. Save it. Let's look into the output, and this is the output we got. So this is one of the way you can apply the style to the component. So let's proceed further. So now we have seen all the three ways. We have seen CSS style sheets, we have seen inline styling, and we have also seen CSS modules. So this is what I wanted to demonstrate you in this session. I hope you enjoyed the session. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye, take care.